Hello, my name is Tobias Heiler and I'm one of the founders of BrainBoost. In this webinar, we show you how we usually do a first consultation with our client. We also show you what features in the Brain Assistant we use, for example the note feature, including templates and other tricks. Also, we show you how you can use certain functions to explain how neurofeedback works and how an EEG looks like to your client. So your client knows how the next neurofeedback training sessions will look like and what to do while doing a neurofeedback training. Have fun with it.
Today's webinar, well, thank you for joining first of all. And today's webinar, first of all, as always, our Brain Assistant is connected to many different hardware manufacturers. If you have a different hardware or you know somebody who manufactures a different hardware, please feel free to connect us and we can see if we can connect the hardware. And we're still already working on different hardware manufacturers as well at this very moment to keep growing. Today, volume 2, about first assessments or assessments generally and auto report. And I received a little bit of feedback also once I uploaded the last webinar. People watched it and then said, hey, you were talking a lot about the auto report, but I'm kind of interested in also how generally assessments, so in between assessments maybe, or also first assessments will take place structurally and generally how you guys do this, because you kind of jumped into, hey, this is how you create an auto report with 3 channels and 19 plus channels and stuff like that. So today I'm going to put the focus more about our first consultation or generally our in-between consultation assessment. There's many different words for it, of course. So this is what I want to guide you through today and put that focus a little bit on that. And also there are new functions and updates about our Brain Assistant. Maybe a few of you already did those updates, and so I will surprise you a little bit with new functions. So let's get going. Our first consultation, here it says it's around 120 minutes, so 2 hours. Of course, not all first consultations go that long. Some have, upfront maybe an info a consultation, 20 minutes or so. Some go a little shorter because sometimes people, they have, 8-year-old child and they cannot sit there for 2 hours. So sometimes it's going to be less than 120 minutes, but this is maximum, and this is what, so maybe maybe 1.5 hours or 2 hours is the maximum. And this is how structure wise we usually go with our first consultations. So as you can see, people come in and we start with some questionnaires, but of course we also assess some general data like address, email and stuff like that. And then, and this is where we'll guide you through also from the Brain Assistant perspective, we start with the notes feature that you can use in the Brain Assistant. And I will also show you a few tricks you can use to generate a nice documentation in your Brain Assistant. Then we go to the recording part where you can use a flow, where you can create data that you can, and then you can watch the last webinar where you can create an auto report and stuff like that. We will dive into a training while the person is on the electrodes. I will give you a few more details on that, how I can use that and how you can use the new features in the Brain Assistant. And yes, you have the choice. You can give the person right away a report or email it, whatever you prefer. So here in a different view, questionnaires, well, of course we need some client infos, and then we have symptom specific questionnaires. We use different ones. There might be a feature coming in the Brain Assistant where you can also create questionnaires in the Brain Assistant. It's not out there yet, but we're working on it and testing it right now. So here, this can be, the symptom specific questionnaires can be really symptom specific, but of course there's questionnaires that are generally about well-being, generally about sleep, stuff like that. And one very important thing, this might also be an open question we can talk about when we take notes. Training goals. We ask for goals. Why are you here? What would you like to improve it? So this can take a few minutes. This can take longer. And we then use the notes features I will guide you through, because here templates in the Brain Assistant, a lot of people don't know about these templates. So I want to show you how you can improve your process and standardize your process when having a first consultation. The recording, last webinar, and also the webinar where I talked about flows might be something you want to dive into, because we usually use this flow. So baseline, 1 minute, eyes open, please just sit there, don't do anything. We then have 3 minutes eyes open, 3 minutes eyes closed, then 2 interventions. One is usually the CPT test, so reaction test, also test some impulsivity, reaction time, commission omission error, and then we have the Stroop test with the 4 colors, blue, yellow, etc. And then we have 2 more minutes eyes open, eyes closed, to test, okay, how is the comeback after having some stressful events? Is there a difference from prior or after intervention, EEG? This specifically, some people ask me that, how do I get the auto report template and also these flows? The last webinar is uploaded on YouTube, and in the description text, there's a Google Drive link, and if you go on that, you can access these files, download it, and just import them in the Brain Assistant. Yes, and then training. Once the person is already on an EEG, well, and of course, you can say, okay, I got the recording, please go home and come in and we will talk about all the results. Usually here, we at least try to then do a short training, a basic ZZ SMR training, have a short version, like 5 minutes, the Focus Master, a game. So they have a general idea. Hey, I came to you because I kind of want to do neurofeedback. Please take your notes, do your questionnaires, do a recording. I want to know more about my brain, but they actually want to do neurofeedback usually. So I want to show them how this will feel like when they come in next time and start doing a session. So I want to show them you can kind of control it, but you can't control it. So some people can already try some breathing exercises, or finger pulse exercise, feeling their pulse and stuff like that. So I want to do like 5 minutes of a simple game, Focus Master. You can also try one with a controller if you have people or kids that really want to do a controller game, and then a movie with a media center. So bright and dark and volume up or down. So they get a feeling, okay, this is how neurofeedback is going to work the next time. And you can demonstrate this either to parents that come with their kids, or if it's adults that come to your practice, they already get a feeling, this is how the training will look like. Because if you send them home right after the recording, they might feel like, I hope they find something in EEG, but I hope it's not too bad. And so usually what we try to cover, but I know 2 hours or 1.5 hours is a lot. This is give them a nice experience. Like when you go and want to know more about how to play tennis, you kind of want to hit the ball a couple of times and play around, goof around. And yes, you can give them a debrief. Hey, we saw this or that, or a tendency that, I don't know, theta goes up, and this, it matches that you have problems focusing, stuff like that, and discuss the next steps. Hey, I will email you a report. I will email you maybe, and watch the last webinar with the auto report. I will email you just the overview of your scores, and then we can talk about your scores, so you don't email them a 60-page report or something. So this is how our first consultation usually goes. And now I want to show you about templates in the Brain Assistant with using the notes features. So for that, I will open my Brain Assistant. And as you all know, you have a trainer profile. I can select the trainer profile. Then I can select my client. Obviously, if the person's here for the first time, you need to create a client and at least fill out this information. So let's just use any demo client. And this is here in the middle. This is the notes features. I can use this for the first consultation, but of course also when I have a phone call and they change their, they change something like prescription or whatever. But here, when you click on notes, well, of course, usually there is no past sessions, as you can see here. Of course, I did some sessions, but if you have the first time a person that just created, then of course it will be blank. And here on the left side, you can use the comments feature, and I can add a comment. And so this is something where you can freely type in, okay, is here to, of course you should write correctly, is here to improve whatever. But now, usually you have the same pattern what you ask. So here are two buttons, and please use this button here with the plus sign. And if you press that one, then you will see text modules. Now, of course, this will be empty in your case. And I know, well, training is training, but here Spontananamnese and für zu Hause is German. But you can now create, and you see there's already some templates here. You can now create templates. And you can do this via pressing add template here. And then you can, in template, you can write a description, but here you can write something, webinar August, and then you can write, XYZ, and say use this text module. And if you use this text module, then we'll automatically put this text module in your comments. Of course, here we have, this is the English version, use this text module, and so for we can delete this one. And of course, we kind of have some standard questions. You can still write freely what the person tells you, but usually we ask for reason for visit or complaints. Why are you here? They sometimes have a diagnosis, so they tell you, well, I'm diagnosed with whatever. And are you already going to a therapy or doing treatments or trainings? Like, do you do some meditation course or whatever? What medication do you take? Did you take in the past? What is your current life situation? Are you married? Do you have kids? Are you by yourself? How's your job going on? Are you switching your jobs? Because obviously this can all influence mood and stuff like that. Substance use, like alcohol, drugs, stuff like that. How's your sleep hygiene? So do you go to sleep regularly at the same time? Always at the same time? Do you travel a lot, so you have problem having a sleep schedule, stuff like that? Resources, what are you good at? Sometimes people then pause for a longer time and say, I don't even know what I'm good at. So this would be a good thing to work with. And what are your goals for neurofeedback? So what would you like to improve in? Some people then say, well, I'm coming here for these reasons or complaints, make them go away. But still, you can say, I want to improve in having a better regeneration, having a better sleep, stuff like that doesn't really work, getting rid of a certain diagnosis. So once you finish that, you can say here, save note. And when you saved your note and you go into your client here, top left, then you have this one. Why do I like to use the note feature? Because you could, when you say, well, I'm doing a recording anyways, I can write all these comments in the qEEG recording. You could, sure. Makes also sense, but the color-wise, you see there's a difference. And this implies, hey, I just took some notes. So this is something where it's just about reading and maybe copy pasting for a report you want to create later on, print out. So this is why we usually start with just using this notes features and then do a recording. Of course, here use comments. I would skip this, and then training. And for training, we have new features in the trainer screen. So I want to show you these. So let's say, okay, we took notes, then we do a recording with a flow. You can watch past webinars for that. And then I want to show the client, hey, this is how neurofeedback is going to work. And I usually don't want to just show some games. I want to show them a little more about their brain. So let's jump into a training session. This is a feature if you've done sessions in the past. Here it will automatically say, hey, last time you did this, it's in German, sorry. You did this protocol. Do you want to just use it in a session? So you can skip a couple of steps, but let's say it's a fresh client. So we'll select this looks different depending on what hardware you use. I'm using a simulation in the background. I will come to that part later. So I'll say I'll use a ZZ SMR training, select protocol, then you have a signal check. And this is what you're used to. Here again, you can use comments, and with the plus, you see you can also use these text modules. So you can also create one for here, anamnesis. So, hey, how are you today? Training, exercise at home. So you can use this feature. Now, if you've done, I know now I just said the client is here for the first time, but regularly, because it's right next to it, the button, if you've done some trainings before, you can use this button and will automatically copy what you wrote down the last time. So right now here, I know it's a template because the last session was this notes. So of course it will copy when you're regularly doing training sessions, it will copy this stuff here. And so Sometimes people say, I need to click around because I kind of want to see what did I wrote down, like exercise 4 at home and, having a soccer game in 1 week, but I can't remember all the stuff. So I need to click back and then read through all this stuff. So with this button, it will just copy paste automatically all you did the last time. So feel free to use that feature with that button. Now, so what do I want to show you? Some orientation. This is not completely new. What you can do here is with this button here, you can get rid of the left side, the comment section, so you have a better view. You see here. This is not new if you watched the last webinar. Here at the top, you can change to, let's say, amplitudes. So you want to see all with the same scaling. Okay, how is alpha is pretty dominant right now. You might want to see a spectrum bar depending on how many positions you're hooked up to. So click around, be brave. Now you can use this button here, split view. So you can split the view, which is pretty nice. You can still take a look at the comments, but this is, I already told you this in past webinars. So now I want to show you why I'm showing you all this. When I show a patient or a client, hey, this is how your brain works. Don't do artifacts. So here the raw EEG, please don't bite your teeth, don't move around too much. And maybe, or not maybe, I usually want to show them, get a feeling, hey, we can measure, we cannot read your thoughts, but we can show you, please close your eyes, open your eyes. Then usually alpha goes up. And here in this case, for example, I would say you see these alpha and theta activity. This is the rather slow activity, of course, depending on what position, what we want to reach. But let's say this person has problems with attention and this is on ZZ. We kind of don't want this. This is when your brain is slowing down too much. Do you see this? So kind of make this not too, too much of a question mark or a black box for the client. So I want to involve them. So I could just take this one and drag it over to the client screen. Because with this function, they don't see any comments if you write down, oh, comes late, or, is not paying attention. So you could drag this over to the client, but maybe you don't want to show them this because then I ask a question about the threshold and this is not very clean, like super clean. So what you can do is you can use this button. You see this? Open as window. So when I click this button on my other screen, I have 2 screens attached, this will open. And this is a completely independent window. So if I change anything here, and you can see already here I have amplitudes, here I have the raw EEG. So if I rescale anything here, like y-axis, x-axis, it will not change anything here. So this is something I can now drag over. I'm not doing it, I'm just going here full screen. So let's say this is what the client sees at this very moment. This is now pretty cool because here I can just show, and of course you can go in a split view. Don't make it too complicated though. So I can say this is your raw EEG. You might want to show them, hey, close your eyes, these are alpha waves, but don't get too much into details here. Maybe just show them artifacts. But here, for example, what you can do now is you can show them some amplitudes, what I just explained. Hey, this is alpha, this is a theta activity. And here you can goof around with changing x-axis, so time, so it goes slower. You can change the y-axis, so it's not too huge, all of the stuff. And you can show them this. And you see here, it's completely independent. If I change something here, EEG training, for example, then this will still look, you see, different. So this is pretty cool to show them some stuff, drag it over. And what you can also do is here change the line thickness. So if they cannot see this very well on your screen, you see you can change the line thickness so they have a better idea of, they can have a better visual on that stuff. So this is pretty cool. Please use this. This is very useful. And use this, and this is where I want to switch to a different protocol, where I use this also a lot because people keep asking me that. Of course, you can use this for biofeedback as well. So, sorry, one thing, once I showed them this, then you can start an application as I just showed you. But let's say you have a biofeedback training with 2 EMG channels. So you have left biceps, right biceps. You can create, I showed you this in the protocol webinar, you can create a protocol that has EMG1 and EMG2, correct? I will use a protocol, this is not EMG, I know, but let's imagine one channel is EMG1 and one is EMG2. I'll show you why I just use this. It has the same color, just like here. Theta on C3 is blue. Theta on C4 is also blue. We see the problem here. So if you have biofeedback and you have EMG, channel left biceps and right biceps, they will have the same color. This is not cool because then you cannot tell which one is which. So I want to show the client this one and say, hey, please flex whatever, your biceps or your neck, that they're both even. They're the same side, but they cannot tell which one is which. Then here on the left side, you can just do a left click. And now you see you have color option. So you can just press this one is yellow and the other one is blue, or go super crazy and do a different color. So here you can change the thickness. You can go on, I like 30 seconds or something, but goof around. So you can now change colors of everything that is displayed here in amplitudes. It makes sense with EMGs, or in this case, when you have theta left and right side. Now, of course, you say, well, if it both starts blue, how do I know which one is left and right? Just go to one electrode, create an artifact by tapping on it, and then you see which line is completely going crazy completely. If you right click, then it will color it red. If you right click again, then it will color it to the original color. So you can also, where do I use this? If I do qEEG recording and have a ton of channels, and there's in the beginning 5 are completely crazy and they go overlap each other, then you can just right click here, here, here. Okay, I got a right one. I got to take care of T9. Or you can even go left click and say, this one is purple now, this one is yellow, and this one is this color. And let's find the correct one that is creating a bad signal. So use the left click and right click feature. And this is what you can show a client to be a little bit minimalistic on that one. So amplitudes, show a client, and also with EMG amplitudes, obviously, you can change the color and make the client realize which side is which, to keep flexing a single side or both simultaneously, stuff like that. Now, one thing as well, you guys probably know when you open, like, for example, the media center. Let's start it. Then there will automatically be see this here in turquoise, bluish, there will be a segment created. And with the segments, you can later analyze a session. For people that already use that feature, once you record sessions, you do different games and you, for example, use the media center. And then later when you save the data, you can take a look at the session and automatically, since this segment session is automatically created, and you say, hey, whoa, he had a lot of alpha or beta, whatever. What happened there? With the segments, you see exactly, it was when we played a controller game, it was when we watched a movie or listened to music or did eyes closed intervention. Now, 2 things. Sometimes you start a media center and then you want to pick a movie, or you start a game and say, what character do you want to use? What dragon do you want to play? So you then create artifacts, or the game actually didn't start. And so when we analyze stuff, it might be biased. So what we now created is a feature where when you stop a segment, so you quit here, for example, the media center open on my screen. When I now quit the media center, then it will automatically do the following. It will do -15 and -15 seconds, the beginning and the end. So the first 15 seconds and the last 15 seconds will automatically be deleted. So we started here 8 minutes 15 and now it's 9:45-ish. And I will now close the media center here on my screen. Close. See, now it's 8:29 and 9:31. So of course you can manually adjust this even here live or later in a saved session. So this is also a feature where we want you to document very precisely. This is what I want. I will tell you in a second why. So this is also a feature that we have. It will automatically happen when you use the latest version in the Brain Assistant. And I want you to work precisely. And for this feature, because we are working on, and there will be a webinar about it, but we're testing it, an inter-session report. So how was my theta alpha from session 1 to 10? Because I know some people keep asking me, this is kind of missing. And I always tell them, you don't have enough context. Maybe theta has an extreme value at session 5, but we did an eyes closed training or something. And so inter-session reports are very tricky. This is why I want you to work precisely. This is why this is a little bit of help. Of course, you need to pay attention to clear and clean data. This is a little bit of a hint, and a feature that will be in the next update is this one. When you start the media center, you see this, then, sorry, it's German, then you have this tiny little symbol. When you press it, then it will switch to this symbol, and so it will even save the information that was it eyes open or was it eyes closed. So you can document, or we later in our automatic session review inter-session report, we can then say, kind of makes sense that we have a lot of alpha activity or different activity because, hey, this is a different media center than this. And so this is an additional info that will be saved. So once we release the update, please use this feature. If you forget about it, also, it's not too bad, but when people want automatic inter-session reports, if you use auto something, like the auto report also I showed you last time, pay attention that you work precisely, that you have clean data and you give as much information as possible. One thing, sorry, but I missed it. After every first consultation, we have 2 different books. This is German, sorry, but this is also available in English. We give them some exercise books or some knowledge, stuff like that, so you can contact us as well. This is also available in English for exercises at home. We're almost at the end, so do the update and use this feature. And what you can also do is when you want to track some progress and status generally, you can use this with cognitive tests. There's another webinar about these, and some people say, I don't want to, I don't trust too much just using the EEG. So yeah, feel free to create your own flow. There's a webinar recorded on that one already, and do a CPT. It's just a 3 minutes test. You have an Xbox controller where you can do the CPT, and you have commission error, omission error, reaction time, and maybe you say, hey, you have a short reaction time but a high commission error, so invest a little bit more time and get more right answers. So you can also use this all 3 or 5 sessions to track a little bit different data than just the EEG. But as I said, with the inter-session report, there will also be a pretty cool feature coming where you can also analyze progress. Now, one more thing, there's an update available, and for the media center, please do it. The media center, for people that have been using it for quite a while, they are familiar with it, and they're familiar with the following work step. They're familiar with, I know there's new buttons, yay, with I want to use a dimmer, 100% transparency for positive feedback, so yes, please leave it at 100. And then minimum, we don't want it pitch black, we want it still at 15% transparency. So you were used to open dimmer, then you have this shadow box, you drag it over to your client screen and then press on your keyboard F and then start the dimmer. Hey, you can now click the button F. I know a lot of people have been asking me, why can I click it? But there's an even cooler feature now. You see these 2, if I hover over those, it will say, hey, give me a suggestion. And screen 1 is my screen that I'm not sharing at this moment. Now I can just press this button and it will automatically open on the screen is being displayed on, start the dimmer and put it into full screen. So that's a pretty cool feature, I hope. And you can stop the dimmer, of course. Here it will turn red. And volume, it's the same story. It will create the entire Windows system sound. This is the maximum system sound. Please don't drag it to 100 and then say start audio feedback. Please wait and go step by step. What is the comfort zone? And minimum means minimum. Yes, the blue bar is already filled because we start at 11.5. So this is already a setting. And it used to be a tiny little box, but now if you press here, start audio feedback, it will be the same as here, the same look and feel. So this is for people that have been working with the media center, I think a nice improvement. So feel free to use it. Hope you enjoy it. Now, here's also another screenshot. So do the update. It's very self-explanatory. Next webinar will be on the 19th of September. And yes, I know z-scores, the magic z-scores, and I keep telling, just comparing you with a database and then creating brain maps is a little simple. Now, we have been working and still work day by day with all our clients that come here and that agree to be a part of a big database. We do the flows, we have eyes open, eyes closed, we do qEEGs in between, in between progress, and we call them BrainBoost Next Generation Z-scores because we have a lot of new features I want to talk about, and it will not be just one webinar. So we have, of course, you can do brain maps with our z-scores. It's around 1,000 people in our database already, so quite a large sample, but also live z-scores while doing a training, suggestions while you do a training manually, so not a z-score training, an amplitude training, but seeing suggestions. Hey, this is what our z-scores show you in this training protocol on this position. Also tracking progress, and also working on z-scores. Hey, you have a certain diagnosis. Hey, compared to other people that have been struggling with the concentration, you look, compared to this sample, you look this or that. So that's what we call them next generation z-scores. And with every update of the Brain Assistant, you automatically get a larger growing sample of z-scores. And people that work with the auto report might have discovered there's already z-scores on your report, so they automatically come with your software. You don't need to book an extra package or anything. They're included in your Brain Assistant, and as I said, they constantly grow with every update. So keep doing your updates, and we constantly add new values to that. So yes, 19th of September there will be next webinar. So please feel free to join. And I will send the invite around. Thank you for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.